Today joining me is a girl by the name of Tree Tatum. She operates Urban Leaf on Wildwood Avenue, a place that I often go to. She's very interesting.
Go through, do your birth chart and all that stuff. I'm Sagittarius all through.
You mean the rising sign and all that?
Yeah, rising, moon, and all that stuff. It's full Sagittarius.
It's funny how that will correlate with personalities, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. My husband and I, he's the yin to my yang. If you go through the horoscope and the birth chart and stuff, I am predominantly a fire sign, but I also have water and earth with it. My husband, he's predominantly an earth sign, and he has water and fire, but the way our percentages go, it matches up, so we're literally a yin and yang together. It's like, and he's my best friend, he's my soulmate.
Where did y'all meet?
We actually met on Facebook. Back in the days, there was an app called Badoo. And when it was originally created, it was a social link-up app, not for dating. It was like, hey, your friends of your friends of your friends on Facebook, they're in the area, let's connect you so you can make more friends, have a social life. So that's why I joined the app. I didn't want a relationship at the time. I just wanted friends because I had just moved back to Florida, back to Tennessee after 4 years. And so I get on it, and I'm like, okay, we'll see what's going with this. 3 days later, I match with Richard, my husband. And he was looking for the same thing, just friends. And it was funny because it was the one weekend that he was down here in Chattanooga seeing his friends, or his family, his children, because they live in Georgia. And at that time, he lived in Kentucky. So unless he had been here in Chattanooga, we would have never met each other because it goes by the radius. And we started talking, and it was crazy for me because I'm not a very open, I'm ready to love you, you're the best thing in the world. I'm very guarded just because I've had a rough past. And so all of a sudden he gets sick, and we couldn't meet up. And it made me feel like I was crazy because I was like, I want to make him soup. I want to take care of him. I want to help him, nurse him back to health. And then I'm having to step back and go, wait a minute, Tree, that's creepy. That's a little crazy. So for a month and a half, we talked every day for a minimum of 3 hours on FaceTime until he finally had another opportunity to come back down to Chattanooga, and we hung out. And when we went to meet, I stopped and I prayed and asked, and I was like, please, if this is real and I'm not crazy, then if he gives me a kiss, let it be where time stands still, where you have that moment that you just know. And he did, and of course my skeptic side goes, okay, that's just a coincidence. All right, fine. When we sit down and talk, if he tells me he loves me, then I'll know. And he did. And then it just went from there. We dated for 3 months. We were engaged for 3 months because we just knew he was the person I had been searching for my whole life. And we've been married for 6 years, almost 7. It'll be 7 in July.
What's so special about him?
He sees me for me. He loves me for me. He doesn't try to change me or tell me who I should and should not be or how I should and should not live my life. He's supportive of my ideas, my spirituality, just all around my rock. And I try my darndest to be the same for him, support him, and it just works. We have a very sarcastic, loving relationship where we pick at each other constantly, and to the outside looking in, they're like, are they okay? Are they gonna fight? And no, we're just joking, we're just messing with each other, and it just builds that bond. So he's been everything that he helped me heal. Gosh, I can't express how much he helped me heal from past trauma, past situations, past life experiences that I didn't understand how to go through. He helped walk me through that healing process to who I am today. And if he wasn't in my life, I don't know where I'd be. I don't think I'd still be on this earth if I didn't have him.
Were you originally from Cleveland? Where were you?
No, I was actually born in San Diego, California, and
My uncle was from there.
what's crazy is
You probably don't know him because it's such a big town, right? Place.
San Diego was I was born in Santee, which is it's San Diego County, but it's a tiny little city, kind of like how Cleveland is to the little towns around. They're still Bradley County, but it's their own little.
Yeah.
And so, my mom had me in the middle of a desert. It was snowing, and in a jacuzzi. Like it was like the coolest kind of moment. I didn't know you could do that when you have a kid.
Yeah.
But when I was 2, she left California, and we moved to Asheville, Hendersonville, Arden area of North Carolina. And I grew up there till I was about
That's
13.
sort of an odd place from San Diego to North Carolina.
Yeah. I love the mountains, anything nature, outdoors. And so it was a fitting place for me to grow up. I was a very tomboy, so I was always outside. I used multiple cousins as landing pads from jumping off the roofs of my grandparents' house and stuff. Like I was a full-blown.
Was your mother from North Carolina?
Yeah, yeah. Our family on my mom's side their last name's Cagle, which was originally back when they immigrated to the U.S.
From where? From where?
From, oh gosh, all over, but from Germany, Norway, Scotland, Ireland. What I have done when I went through a DNA search of myself, because I don't look like my family. I look like they kidnapped me or adopted me from some other family. I don't match. And I am Cherokee, Norwegian, Ethiopian, and Puerto Rican. So I'm a whole mixture. And so the Cagle family was originally their last name was Kagel. And they changed it when they moved over here so to be more Americanized. And they've been, they started in Henderson County, in Hendersonville, North Carolina. I'm still going through my whole family tree to really know who's where. But a lot of the Cagle family helped found Hendersonville, or they're one of the founding families of Hendersonville. So all of my mom's side of the family was in that area. And then when my mom met my stepdad, David Michael, then we were there in North Carolina till 13. I was 13, and then we moved to Florida for a while. I was there till 16, and then we slowly worked our way back to North Carolina. And that's when we came back to North Carolina, I was 17, and that's when I started having a love for coffee, espresso, lattes, teas, herbs, all that kind of stuff. And I started studying it, and I worked as shift supervisors, as general managers of a local shop there. I just kind of stayed in that industry. So when, fast forward to now, back in April, I was working for a different company. They didn't have hours for me. I went for a whole month without any work. And
Was it a coffee shop in Cleveland?
No, it wasn't a coffee shop. It was just a local retail store. And it had gotten to the place that, it was about to just take us out, because between the balance of my husband's job and my job, we do life 50-50. I help pay for these bills, you pay for those bills, and it just works. So with me not having a job, it was all not having hours, it was all getting put on him. And it was stressful. And I was driving to work. I had one day scheduled that whole week. I was like, fine, at least it's something. As I'm coming home, that little voice in the back of your head goes, turn here and go inside, or you're going to miss something. So I pulled to the right, pulled in real quick, and he was closing down shop. Because at the time, Andrew was running everything by himself. And so
This is Andrew who?
Andrew Richardson, he's the owner of Urban Leaf. And I came inside and I was like, hey, I know you're closing, but I'm wondering, are you hiring? He's like, do you have experience? I was like, actually, and I gave him the whole spiel about my experience. He goes, 2 weeks, I want you to start. I was like, perfect, all right, sweet. Because at the time, we were living like a quarter mile up the road in a little tiny, like 550 square foot 2-bedroom apartment. And the car we had was on the fritz. 1 minute it would start, 1 minute it was like, nah, not today. So for me, it was like, this is perfect. I can walk 5 minutes down the sidewalk and be at work. This works out perfectly for me. And about three days into working, Andre is his first name, but he goes by Andrew. Andrew goes, let me show you the upstairs where we keep inventory. I'm like, all right. We go up there and he kind of shows the whole place. He goes, would you and your family want to live here? He's like, I'd feel comfortable you watching over the shop and everything. And I was like, man, this is twice the size of, yes. And gave it to us for the same that we were paying at the other apartment, just really took care of us and showed me like, look, he actually gives like he cares about the people that work for his business. You do for him, you show him that you are loyal and you're here, he'll take care of you. Like he wants what's best for his business, but also if it works out that there's a like familiar relationship there, it's perfect. And so probably about a month or so later, we ended up moving in upstairs, and it just kind of went from there and took off. And it's a huge blessing for me because, like I said, I've worked in multiple coffee shops, both mom and pops, both high end like Starbucks. I've worked all over the place in coffee shops. And I've never been able to put my own ideas into action, or give my own 2 cents of like, hey, what do you think about this? And it be received, or be like, yeah, let's go for it. So for me, it's like being able to have my own little signature as a part of this bigger picture, because we have so much things planned for the future, for this building itself, for the coffee shop, for the things we're going to add to it. It was like I felt valued for once. And then it just kind of led one thing to the next, and I ended up becoming the general manager, running everything for him so that he didn't have to stress out and be there 24/7 to keep an eye on it. He can go and take care of the rest of his businesses, and I'm here running everything for him, and he can be like, oh, Tree's got it, it's cool. So it really turned into a huge blessing, and it's everything I've dreamed of having. As a job, as a life, because I've always, as a kid, you have that dream of one day I want to be this, I want to grow up and do this. And I've always dreamed of living in a brick and mortar where you live above where you work and you have that relationship with the company or the business as well as you have your own life. It's just an aesthetic that I've always wanted to have. And with the herbs, we have 20 different loose herbs, then we have, trying to count, 15 different mixed, like pre-mixed teas, but also I, with my knowledge of herbology.
What kind of ology?
Herbology.
Herbology.
So it's more, I use it more of my knowledge of what each herb stand for, what they can help with, what they can't help with. I make different teas that help with, say, for instance, somebody has kidney failure issues. My father, he's 81 years old, and his kidney's failing on him. Like, he's going through it right now. And if you take yarrow root and St. John's wort and burdock root and dandelion root and mugwort, and you mix those together, add some peppermint, some ginger, and some chamomile, that helps keep your stomach calm. But the first few herbs, they almost detox your kidneys and your liver and kind of helps bring you back to that healthy state. And it's not going to completely fix it. Depends on how far advanced the failure is, but it helps kind of revitalize it. And I enjoyed learning that stuff because I want to help. I want to be the helper, the one that helps people be happy, but also help heal in any way I can. Whatever makes someone else heal and feel better brings me joy.
Did he already have some of these herbs there when you went there?
All the teas that we have in the copper cans in the back, all those teas were already there because that was his original plan, was to have it's called Urban Leaf Tea Company. Yeah, we have coffee and we have lattes and smoothies and refreshers, and we have boba, which I make the tapioca fresh for every order so it doesn't have a weird consistency. I want it to be the best it can be so people have the best experience. And then we started talking about the different herbs of, hey, garlic is great for this, or lavender helps you relax and sleep. And we just went from there.
So you've expanded what he has.
Yes, yeah. I think before I got there, I think we've got about 50, maybe 60% of what's there now came after I got there, and we sat down and brainstormed of, hey, what would the community like? We were doing pretty steady, pretty busy in the beginning, and then, of course, when the sidewalk work started, it blocked off. People didn't want to try to fight through the construction to get in. So for a month, it was a little rough. There were days that I would probably have 2, maybe 3 customers show up for the whole day. That's a 10-hour day. And then other days, people would fight to get in there, and we do pretty good. But it's picked up a lot more since that's finished and people can get in without any issue. It's with each week that passes, it gets busier and busier. And I have a positive feeling that we're going into 2023, it's going to be amazing. There's so much opportunities, and we've got promotions lined up, as well as advertising lined up on a grander scale. He wanted to go kind of slow and steady for the first year because our 1-year anniversary comes up in February.
So this February he'll have been open 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
Did he do all that remodeling?
Yes, he did. He
looks good, doesn't it?
It looks, gosh, 1,000% better than what it did when he first bought the building.
Was he from Cleveland?
No, actually, he is retired law enforcement, military esque kind of lifestyle for 45 years. And he came from California back. I think he was originally born in Alabama, but he wanted to be closer to his family here in Chattanooga area. So he came to Tennessee when he retired from his career in California.
So he bought the building?
Yeah, he bought the building, the property the building's sitting on, and originally where the parking lot is, that was another lot. So he bought both and just combined it together as one piece of property.
Now, before he had it, what was it?
Before he had it, it was, I believe, a hobby shop, or I get the two mixed up.
It was Kenneth Tinsley's antique place for a while.
Yes, yeah. I believe that was actually the last one, was Mr. Tinsley.
Yeah.
I think.
Kenneth.
Yeah, Kenneth. I'm trying to be respectful. Yeah. I think Andrew DiResta was the last person to own it, and that was the hobby shop. So then, before Andrew DiResta, then it was Kenneth Tinsley.
And before that, it was
Pearson's.
Pearson's.
Yes.
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy. And
Pearson Photos or Pharmacy? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pearson.
He's going to show some photos. Yeah. So, well, he's really got that looking nice, doesn't it?
You see where our sign is?
Kenneth would be happy.
Yeah, I think he would too. Where our sign is, underneath the brick that's still embedded in the brick from when it was a drugstore, and it says drugs. Embedded.
Just drugs.
Just the word drugs underneath our sign.
So that's your apartment above?
Yes, yeah, and that's our front porch, and you can see kind of at the back where the fence is.
Yeah. That's
our backyard and everything. And the door leading to nowhere, it's sealed off, but it used to be a staircase.
Yeah, don't use that door, right?
No. I thought about installing a fire pole that I can just slide down to work when I'm late. But then I'd still have to walk back upstairs, so it's just counterproductive.
You got an inside picture of that, Gwen? That's really professional done.
Yeah, he
Looks like something I'd do.
his vision is absolutely amazing for the shop, for the building. Oh, he
Is
wanted
that
to.
Bob Marley in the corner?
It is. It is Bob Marley. He had these paintings commissioned for the coffee shop, and he wanted to have kind of a old school like speakeasy jazz blues vibes with
Late
a
20s maybe or
yeah
something.
with a New Orleans twist.
Yeah.
So the vibe that we've lost almost, but have kind of a modern twist to it too. So it's updated, but we've lost that history, that culture. So we wanted to bring that back. One thing we pride ourselves on.
There you are.
Here I am.
So those that you had in the copper can is what it was already pretty much there.
That's the pre-mixed teas, which are all organic, 100% organic, and most of them we have the same loose herbs available to buy those or mix for themselves. But it's just kind of an easier, hey, I want something for immune system boost. You would get the elderberry wine, which there's no wine in it. It's just called that. Yeah. If you were feeling like you were getting sick, you wanted to get rid of any crud in your chest or anything like that, like I was saying, we have the Detox. And that has cinnamon bark, dandelion root, burdock root, and peppermint and a couple others.
What does the dandelion root do?
Dandelion root helps with kind of removing any infections in the body and the blood. It also helps flush out your kidneys, your liver. It's more of a full body health.
Dandelion root's not very tasty, is it?
No, not without honey. But it tastes better than valerian root. Valerian root without honey.
I take one of those when I go to bed. Those little valerian.
Yeah.
Boy, they make you sleep.
Oh, they do. They knock you.
They'll knock you out.
Yeah.
On that bottom jar it says don't take more than 5. I could imagine taking more than 1.
You'd sleep for a week. Like, gosh, I know. I couldn't imagine.
And you sleep hard too. I mean, it really puts you to sleep.
The best sleep. I have some valerian root upstairs, and I make a tea if I struggle with insomnia. But growing up, I'd always been on 8 different medications, and once I started studying about herbs and the benefits they can have for you if you mix them with another herb, what can help, so on and so forth, I've been able to completely eliminate all my medications. I don't have to have anything for my insomnia. I can drink tea. Drink a cup of tea, I sleep just fine. If I'm having an anxious day, I'll mix it with another herb. Drink that tea, I'm fine. It just kind of helps balance me out, and I've actually lost almost 35 pounds since I changed that diet and way of living and eating.
How would you describe an anxious day?
Just where I get stuck in my head.
Like a record that won't
get
stuck.
Yeah, stuff that shouldn't bother me, it's still playing in the back of my head. So that little voice where you have someone telling you, oh, you're not gonna do good today, you're not good enough, and that gets stuck where I can't convince myself otherwise. I will find a way to stop, meditate, pull myself back together, kind of give myself a mini pep talk of, you got this, stop getting in your head. And if I really am struggling, then I just make the tea, and it helps me. It's not going to help everyone the same way, but for me, it helps kind of relax me to, okay, I got this, I'll be fine, kind of moment. But yeah, it's a huge...
8 medications, that's a lot.
Yes, I was on Adderall for ADHD. That was the only one I wasn't allergic to. I was on Paxil for PTSD and anxiety, and I was on Buspirone for my dysthymia, which dysthymia is a chronic depressive disorder that makes you get stuck in your head. It's like that little voice you can't get rid of that tells you you're not good enough, you're not worthy, why are you even trying? And it just pushes you down. Mm-hmm. And then they had me on trazodone for insomnia. They had me on blood pressure medication because my body decided that it just didn't want to handle life anymore. My blood pressure would go beyond what it's supposed to be. The highest I had was 218 over 189. And I was working at the hospital at the time as a PCT, night shift PCT, which is like a CNA.
Yeah.
But
At Tenova?
at Tenova, yeah.
Let me ask you this. How'd you get to Cleveland, though? You hadn't filled that gap.
My parents, they just kind of pushed and pushed and pushed, so I finally gave in and moved up here.
Were they already here?
Yeah, yeah.
How'd they end up here from North Carolina
My
through Florida?
stepdad, back in the days when he was married to his first wife, she passed. They were married for 33 and a half years, I believe, and they were high school sweethearts. And she passed away with cancer. And when he was married to her, you know the old Victorian-esque brick building that's across from Lee that the library owns?
Yeah.
Like a gorgeous brick building. My dad used to own that, and his family lived there.
Let's see. What was his name?
David Michael.
David Michael.
Yeah.
Was that a red brick?
Yeah. It's the red brick with the just gorgeous.
Had a little bitty house behind, little bitty.
Yeah.
That's where my wife lived upstairs.
That's so awesome.
Wasn't there an older lady that owned that back then?
I think at one point in time, I haven't fully gone into the history of where.
On the back, it's not real brick; it's fake brick on the little building.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that.
So he brought your mother back here.
Yeah, and when they got married later, they wanted to come back up here because my younger sister Hannah, she wanted to go to Lee, for music, and when him and his family lived. His first family lived in that house. He helped build the auditorium for Lee University. And at that time, he owned multiple companies, construction companies, plumbing company. He was a master plumber, a master electrician. He built houses from the ground up kind of thing. And then when his wife at the time got sick, he just stopped everything for 3.5 years to take care of her and ended up, when she passed, liquidating everything he owned to pay cash for what she went through, medical, funeral, and so on and so forth, and just kind of started from scratch. When my mom met him, they he was kind of helping her in, I guess, in a therapy way, to kind of help her back on her feet. She was a single mom with 2 little girls and just kind of helping her work through that spiritually. And then they ended up falling in love. And they got married, gosh, I was 7 years old when they got married. Hannah was 3. Growing up was different for me, but it made me who I am today. And they've, gosh, yeah, almost 30 years. They've been married almost 30 years. When I turned 37 in 2 years, it'll be 30 years they've been married.
It's worked out for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's worked out. Right now, she takes care of him because he's struggling so bad with his health. He can't hardly hear anymore. He can't see. He can't really walk anymore without a struggle. The pain he goes through just absolutely rips my heart out, because it's, when you hear people saying it was a tormenting, just intense pain that you can't handle, you think they're exaggerating. But I've watched my dad have a pain fit that just, all I want to do is just take it from him. And I can't, but it's just how can I fix this for you? I want to fix you. I want to help you feel better, because I don't like anyone being in pain or struggling in any, especially someone that's my family that I love. So that right now, my mom takes care of him, gets him to all of his doctor's appointments, and my sister, she works and helps take care of my dad and home and stuff like that. So,
You've got a pretty close-knit family.
Yeah, it's an interesting family because my family is Messianic Jewish.
Now explain that. That's Jews that believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, they follow the same Judaic belief of Judaism, but they also already believe that the Messiah has come, which in English is Jesus. In Hebrew, it's Yeshua. And so they call him Yeshua.
How did she end up Jewish?
In their bloodline, which is why my family changed their name, ancestors changed their name from Kagel to Kegel, they changed their name to Kegel to hide persecution for being Jewish. And my stepdad and his family, they hide their Jewish bloodline to not be persecuted because they lived in Taft, Alabama back in the 40s, and people there didn't really like the Judaic faith. So they just kind of hid that. When my stepdad, when his mother passed away, she finally came clean and was like, just before, she's like, hey, we're Jewish, and yes, we hid this, but it was for y'all's safety and for our safety kind of thing. And he just kind of went with what he felt the Lord was, leading him for, and went from being, non-denominational, evangelist all over the world, every different denomination you could think of, I've been to them all. And growing up, and then he just felt like he was meant to step into his Judaic faith instead of going the mainstream way, and then went full messianic, overnight. Oh, when I was 14, we had a Christmas tree. When I was 15, we had a Hanukkah tree. And it's just gone from there, just hardcore into what they feel to be the closest to the real, how it's supposed to be. And
do they meet anywhere in Cleveland?
No, they have their own kind of thing at home, just because he's so frail.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
I mean, is there a church for that religious faith in Cleveland?
I believe there is. I believe there's a couple. I've never been to them because I have a different way of practicing my spirituality than they do. So once I pulled away from them and went on, had started my own family and everything, I did my own way of connecting to God. That's best for me, because I believe each person has needs to build a personal relationship of their own with God, not how everyone else wants you to believe. You believe the way that best connects you. Instead of going, oh, well, they said I'm supposed to pray 10 times a day and repent every day and rededicate myself every morning just in case I did something bad in my sleep. For me, I just go by how I'm led, how I feel, my intuition, and live that way, and it's brought a lot of peace.
It's worked, hasn't it, for you?
It's worked perfectly for me, and it's totally different from the way my parents feel and believe, but that's fine. They have their way of having their relationship, and I have my way, and it just works. So.
I wonder what led you to being on so many drugs and stuff. Because you seem very well balanced.
Yeah, my balance now, if you'd have talked to me probably, 10, 15 years ago, I was a totally different person. My balance now has come from just focusing on, I went through a lot as a child, as an adult. I had a lot of trauma that no one should go through, which led to me having to be on certain medications to manage that depression.
Can you talk about what traumatized you, or is it?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I've healed from that. When I was 5 years old, I came out to my mom that a family member at the time had been abusing me from 3 to 5. And she pulled me out of that situation. Then I had to heal from that because it was used, when they were abusing me, it was used as a, I love you, right? So this is why I do it. I do this because I love you. So it totally messed with my head as a child. Then growing up, probably about, I'd say 25, I was up here, single mom with my now oldest. He's 11, taller than me. He's 5'2". Yeah, he's gonna be huge. I just need him to slow down a little bit. He's expensive clothing wise.
Yeah.
But my parents had finally asked, because The guy I was engaged to, which is my oldest father, it just didn't work out. We were best meant to be friends and co-parents. We work great as that, relationship-wise, just not meant for us. Two totally different personalities could not match together. But so I moved back up here after Sebastian was born, and I tried to go to Lee. I survived one semester, and at that time, it's different now, but at that time, it was really frowned upon to be a single parent without having the father have passed away or something happened to you as to how you became the parent. They didn't care. Like, so it was rough being there. So I ended up going from there to Cleveland State University, and I was studying psychology, music, languages. At that time, I wanted to be a musician, a linguistics, so I could be a translator, and I wanted to understand psychology to help other people get through what I had been through. And I had a classmate I had been studying with for probably 6 months, never tried anything, swore up and down he was saving himself till marriage kind of thing. And then one day we ended up studying together out of the blue, so I had no reason not to trust him. And he took advantage of that situation, and it was very horrific. Nothing got done about it, because that's life. And I just ended up moving back to Florida to heal from that, because Sebastian's dad wanted to try again to see if we could make our family work, and no, it didn't work. Again, like I said, we were best meant as friends and co-parents. And probably about 3 years later, I finally came back and stayed, started over. But at that time when that event happened to me, the reason I left, I was blamed. I was told it was my fault. I should have known better than to be alone with another man, and so on and so forth, and I deserved it, and it tore me to pieces.
Felt like nobody believed you or something?
Yeah, like nobody cared, nobody believed me. Fast forward to 2018, we had someone staying with us for 2 weeks that we had known for a year. We thought was a dear friend. We were just trying to help them as a stepping stone where they were hopping from state to state to move back to where they were going, where they came from. And one night, I worked night shift and came home. My husband had an appointment he had to go to the next morning, and we did everything married couple always does. Had our moment because I didn't know how long he'd be gone, and wanted to have that moment with him before he's gone. I stayed up with him. I ended up later getting the children to sleep and had probably about half of a normal, what you call a glass of wine. It's like a half of a glass. Had that, went to bed. Hour, 45 minutes later, I wake up to being face first in a pillow and someone on top of me. And I pretended to stay asleep and waited till they had finished and left, and then locked the doors and called the police and all that stuff and got everything done the proper way like it was supposed to. But during that time, nobody wanted to go through with it, even though the evidence was there. It was a sensitive time in the world, so they never prosecuted, and the person got away, went on to another state, ran from it. But looking back, like before, now, I wouldn't be able to talk to you about it. I wouldn't be able to tell you what I've been through and why I had to go, why I had to be on medication, why I had to have help with each day. But the past, was that 4 years now, 28? Yeah, past 4 years, I have grown immensely spiritually. I've worked through my trauma, through my pain. I've forgiven those that have hurt me, whether they deserve it or not. I've just released that from me, because when you hold on to hatred, to disdain for others, all it's doing is it's hurting you while they're still sleeping soundly at night. They know what they did wrong. They don't care, but it's tormenting you more than it is them. And so I just worked through that, and it's what made me kind of the happy, outgoing person wanting to help and heal all of those, even the ones that have hurt me, I still wish the best for them. And and when COVID hit around 2019, the beginning of 2019, being stuck at home and all that stuff, I just started going into myself and dealing with that, studying herbs more deeply, trying to figure out, okay, I take this for that. What is there an herb that I can make a tincture out of, or make a tea out of, or bake into food that would help me with that just as much as a pharmaceutical drug? And just went from there. Because during that time, like, work was scarce, paychecks were scarce, and I couldn't afford all my medication. So for an entire month, I couldn't pay for my medication, and I was forced to quit cold turkey. And when
Was that really hard? Did that send you into a bigger spin?
oh, it was frustrating. It both medically and physically and mentally.
And you had a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, and had a 5-year-old trying to keep up with, well, 5-year-old now. At that time, he was 2 and 3. So, and he's a little escape artist, little ninja baby. Like, you'd see him one spot, next minute he's at the other end of the house, covered in paint. And you're like, how?
Yeah.
That was like 5 seconds. How did you get over there? Kind of thing. So, but I just kept focusing on, hey, you got this. You can work through this. There's a way to heal without having to have everyone else just pump you full of drugs. And weaning off of the antidepressant, though, that was probably the roughest thing for me, because it sent my body into what they call brain shivers, where it's kind of like your body's having to just relearn how to handle the anxiety and the depression on its own. And it ended up causing me to have a minor TIA, which is a mini stroke, which at the beginning, doctors thought, oh, you're just having a severe migraine. My left hand went numb, went limp. I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't speak correctly. My face didn't droop, but I was struggling everywhere else that you would with having a stroke. And that's when I realized, yeah, I'm not getting back on that. I'm not going through that again, and just learned how to manage it one day at a time.
Let me tell you about Capstar Bank. They're located in Nashville, Hendersonville, Gallatin, Athens, Madisonville, Sweetwater, Etowah, and in Cleveland at 950 25th Street and 3855 North Ocoee Street. I've used them. I like them. Give them a try. They're no problem. You ever talk to people about your issues and it didn't help because they wouldn't quite listen?
Yeah, it helps when someone's available to listen and understand where you're coming from, or at least attempt to understand where you're coming from. I mean, I will say it is frustrating at times when people are like, oh yeah, I completely understand, and they've lived the perfect, pristine life where nothing bad has ever happened to them. They've gone through life the way it should be, and they're telling me, oh, I know what it was like to have your innocence taken from you, to have your life ripped out of your hands and no one believe you. That didn't help at all. It just made me even more frustrated or feel even worse about the situation. But I do highly recommend therapy. I mean, whether it's your closest confidant that you know will listen to you and help you work through it, or you go and pay a professional to help you talk through it. Because to me, talking through it is the best way to figure out how to heal. Because sometimes you'll end up surprising yourself and telling yourself the key to healing with just talking it out.
Maybe you already know it.
Yeah, you already know it.
A lot of times we just want somebody to say, have validation. Talk to somebody that believes us.
Yes.
Not necessarily agrees with us, but believes that what we're telling them happened is true.
Yeah, and that.
What I get aggravated with, if I talk to somebody about something, they'll say, "Well, what color was it?" And now we're trying to decide what color it is.
Yeah.
And that's not part of the story. If it was significant to the story, then I would have mentioned what color it was.
Exactly.
I'm only mentioning what's important.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, how many were there? And I'm thinking, well, what's that got to do with the story?
It's the fact of what happened to you. That's the important part. That's what you need to heal from. I mean, it could be, for me, what happened to me, it could have been one man or it could have been 5 men. It doesn't matter how many it was. It's the fact that I went through that event and I need help pulling myself back out of the pit. I need somebody to throw me a life vest so I don't drown in the midst of what I'm trying to deal with. And that's what my husband has become for me, or is for me, because I can sit down with him and tell him, hey, I'm struggling with this in my head, and this is bothering me, and I really need to understand why it's bothering me. And he'll sit there for hours on end helping me work through step by step. Well, maybe it's bothering you because of this, or maybe it's that, helping me figure out why that's bothering me so I can pinpoint that, deal with that within myself, and move forward. I always like communication is key in any relationship, but especially if you have...
Communication is important if the other person believes you.
Yes, yeah.
It's rotten if they don't.
Yes, yeah. I've had many family members... when the event happened to me in 2018, my husband, he had multiple friends of ours that would come to him and go, yeah, are you sure it really happened that way? I don't believe her. I think she
See, I'd
asked
have to
for
get
it. She
rid of
pushed
those
it.
friends.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he let him have it in a verbal but respectful way. He's like, no, I know, because y'all don't see her every day. For months, he couldn't hold me. We couldn't sleep cuddled up together like we used to, because it would just send me into a flashback. Like, he walked through all of my nightmares, all of my trauma triggers. I hate that word, but like, he walked through all of that with me. He lived what I had to heal from. And like I said, if I didn't have him, I wouldn't be here. Because there's multiple times that I just wanted to give up. I wanted to just be gone from this world.
You just couldn't handle it mentally?
Yeah, because no one would believe me. No one would listen to me. No one would help me.
How did it feel when somebody said, I believe what you're telling me?
I cried. I cried immensely, because it was like, finally someone cares.
You know, people need validation, don't they, about what they're thinking and how they're looking at something.
Yeah. It's growing up, my life wasn't all sunshine and roses. And my family that we had a lot of rough times as far as relationship goes. And there was a point in time where very close family members didn't believe me. My mom always believed me. My mom was always there for me. And for 4.5 years, I didn't have her, because we had a little bit of a disagreement, and my husband was standing up for me, for my rights, for my mental health. And some other family members didn't agree with that, and we had a falling out, and I didn't get to talk to my mom for 4.5 years. And when I didn't realize how much I missed that, and how much I missed my mom, until March of this year. I got to go and surprise her for her birthday and be there for her birthday. And when I walked in, it was like nothing from the past had ever happened. It started over as if we never had that argument. We never had the falling out. I never got disowned from the family kind of situation. It just kind of started over. And I was able to go up to my stepfather and tell him, hey, man, we had a rough past. We went through, for lack of better words, we went through hell together. And you and I got in each other's faces constantly. It was not fun. But I forgive you. I forgive you. I love you. And even though what happened in the past hurts, you're still my dad. And it was a huge moment for both of us. And he, for the first time in his life, is probably gonna make me cry. For the first time in his life, in my life that I can remember, he validated me. He told me that I am worthy. I am loved. I am meant to do what I do in life or how I live my life. I am meant to be here. And I never got to hear that as a kid. Because growing up, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. No matter what I did, it was never good enough. I would never be what I was supposed to be because I had bad things happen to me, and it caused me not to be able to go and become a worship leader or a big musician or a famous singer. I didn't get to live that dream. So then I tried to go do something else. I didn't get to live that dream. But it wasn't meant for me. Because if I had gone, looking back, if I had gone and I had become that famous singer, or I had become a psychologist, or done interpreting for across the globe, I wouldn't have the peace and joy that I have now because I wouldn't have stopped and tried to heal from my past wounds. I would have just medicated, just
right.
pushed through, and just been this perfect societal person instead of being perfect to myself. I mean, obviously nobody's perfect. That's never going to happen. But when you love yourself and you go within and you heal from what others have done to you instead of just blaming, you learn and heal from that. It makes your life so much happier and so much more worth living than just medicating and pushing it to the back. Because at some point in time, it's going to rear its ugly head and lash out, and you're going to go right down the drain instead of dealing with it and healing from it and moving forward. And that was probably the most pivotal time in my life as far as healing went, to be able to have that experience with my dad. And hence why now I try everything in my power to find a way to help him heal, at least herbal wise. And
That's all you can do, isn't it?
yeah, I don't feel like he has much longer, but I hope that he can have peace and pain relief for what he has left, because his body's falling apart, and it hurts me because I don't know how to fix it. I can't fix it. I'm not God. I don't have magical powers. I can bippity boppity boo. You're done. You're fixed. But I wish I could. Wish I did. And he's going through, like I said, kidney failure, heart disease. He has a degenerative disc in his neck where, like, just turning even a centimeter causes immense pain. My mom has to help him, dress, eat, dress his wounds, because just the other day he tried to open a vitamin bottle and it pinched his thumb even in the slightest, which to us would be like, ow, that hurt. But it wasn't even a blood blister. It just barely pinched his thumb. Now he has a, like, it's not boil, well, I guess that's kind of the same thing, a blister. He has a blister that comes out about a good half inch, covering the side of his thumb. Immense pain just from him trying to open the bottle. And yeah, I just wish I had a magic button I could push to help take that away from him. No matter what we went through in the past, I don't care anymore. That's the past. The past is the past. When you keep bringing it up, all it does is wound and hurt everyone else around you.
We got to look to the future.
Yeah, because the future is the only way you can be happy. Because right now,
and it's the only thing we can change.
Exactly. You can't change the past, so why dwell in it?
Who did your nails?
I went to Zen. And usually I go to...
Well, those are red.
Yes, I like the bright colors. Yeah, I went to Zen over by Publix, and usually I see Kelly or Jasmine, because they just know how to make them the perfect pointy. Like, I like my claws.
Let me see them.
Yeah. Extra pointy.
They're not nice.
They're not as pointy as usual. Usually, like, I can just touch a pack of water and just kind of slice down the side and cut it open. But no, I I needed a change. I like my bright colors.
Do you think that your coffee there, is it different than like Lassiter's, Starbucks, uh, Scoops, all these new coffee places now? Is it a special blend of any sort?
I believe it's different because we get our coffee beans from Mad Priest out of Chattanooga, which is a local roasting company.
Will they roast whatever kind you want?
It pretty much, yeah. They have their set ones, but if you brought beans to them, I'm pretty sure they would be like, yeah, we can roast those.
Will they roast your own flavor?
I believe so. We've never had to actually step into that and ask because what they already have is perfect. We get it usually an Ethiopian blend, a Colombian blend. Then we have one called Dark Night. We have one called Sloth Dispelling. They have some of the craziest names for their beans. And our espresso bean is the matriarch. The way they roast their beans, it holds in all of the nutrients and the enzymes you're supposed to have in coffee. So like normally say you go to get a gas station coffee. You drink it 5 minutes later, you got to run to the bathroom because it just went straight through you. When that happens, that means there's no enzymes or any health benefit whatsoever in those beans. They've been burnt. They've been roasted out of it.
If not roasted out, what are the health benefits of coffee?
One can be it's like a metabolism stimulant. So
I've heard that.
Yeah, you can do for metabolism stimulant.
Speeds up that helps you lose weight,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it can
It
help.
helps burn fat.
Yeah. And there's several other benefits that if I had my book with me, because I've got so many little pocket books that I'm like, hey, this is for that, that's for this. I could dive deeper.
So so some coffees are more of a diuretic, and that's the ones that have had
had the enzymes roasted out of it, pretty much. It's a lot of.
So enzymes are like yogurt, right? Isn't there enzymes in yogurt?
Yeah, it has kind of the same benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, yogurt, a lot of those will have more of a probiotic.
Probiotic, that's what I was trying to think.
Which is great for gut health and just all around general, what's the word? Not immune system, but like digestive health. That helps with the all around digestive health. If you end up drinking a coffee that doesn't have the enzymes and all that stuff, it can build up that nasty gunk. Your body can't digest it properly, hence why it goes straight through you. Because there's no way, it's like just pure liquid through your body. There's no way for it to pull any nutrients out of it. But if your body is able to actually digest what you're drinking, then it can help benefit with the boosted metabolism and so on.
Sometimes you drink coffee and it has a slight bitter taste. Is that an Arabic blend?
It depends on how it's roasted, whether it's a light roast, medium, or dark roast. Some dark roasts will have more of a bitter taste to it because they're roasted longer. Obviously, they're darker bean.
And so that makes it more bitter, darker.
Yeah, just a tad bit more bitterness to it. But yeah, a lot of Arabica beans will have
Arabica. I call it Arabic, but it's Arabica.
Arabica, yeah.
And they have they're roasted more, which makes them, so the more roasted,
the darker,
more
bitter taste.
A little slight bitter.
Yes.
I don't really like the slight bitter.
But
some people do, don't they?
Some people do, yeah. Some people would rather have it as black as their soul kind of thing, as dark and thick.
Well, I don't mind it being dark. I just don't want it bitter.
Yeah.
How come some are dark, but not bitter?
That can also be, one, how it's roasted, one, how it's brewed, and two, depending on what type of bean. Because a Kona beans, you can roast them to a dark roast, and they won't have that bitter taste to them. But some Arabica beans and Colombian blends, stuff like that, can have more of
Colombians, I don't much like it either.
It's more of a medium roast, yeah. The light roast that we have right now, I believe that's the Sloth Dispelling. It's a very low acidic. It's still going to come out like a normal black cup of coffee, where it looks dark, but it's not going to have that bitter kind of acidy feel to where a few minutes later you've got acid reflux because you drank too much.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah, but actually I think the beans we have right now, most of our beans are all a medium to light roast. Well, I mean, the Dark Knight is a dark roast, but it's a very mild, low acidic, no bitter taste. It has kind of a chocolatey, cherry undertones.
Yeah, that sounds good. What do you call that?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's a dark. It's a
dark. Yeah.
It's a heavy coffee, but not.
But not
You
with
ever
all
put
the
a little
extra.
salt in it?
I actually have. One of my favorite things to make is a dark chocolate salted caramel latte, and the matriarch, which is our espresso beans, is kind of the same, just a little bit under, but same level as the Dark Knight. And I'll put a little bit of salt from a salt packet in there, and it livens
Boy,
up the
it really
flavor.
helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's.
That's an old They say that's an old army trick.
I did not know that. Now I've learned something new. I'll put that.
You ever drink chickpea?
I have not.
How about that other stuff people drink?
The
Postum?
Postum. No, I haven't had that. I have had mushroom coffee. Mushroom coffee is really good. It's different though. It's very earthy. If it's not made properly, I assume. But I've only had it like once.
Do y'all sell pastries? I thought I saw that in the picture. Where do you get them?
He gets them from a lot of different bakeries.
They deliver them every day or what?
He brings them to me. He just kind of goes around and samples little bakeries.
So he'll bring them every day?
Yeah, about every day, every other day, depending on the supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Some days, like, we can go a couple days and we barely sell many pastries. Other days, I'll sell out and then have to go and be like, hey, we need pastries in the morning. So it just kind of, depends.
You're across from the Quick Check. Yeah. A friend of mine owns that.
Yeah, they're really awesome. They know me by name.
You know that guy I was in there with the other day?
Yes.
That was the owner.
Oh, okay.
The little
That's
guy.
why he looked familiar.
That's that little guy?
Yeah. They're really awesome over there because they know me by name. I walk in, oh, hey, Tree, you here for milk? Because I use them as our emergency milk run. Because there'll be times I'm like, okay, we have 4 gallons of milk. How am I down to a half a gallon? I can't leave the shop because right now I'm the only one there.
Yeah.
Which after we get through our first year and kind of regroup after our 1-year anniversary, we will have another employee, so it will be open longer. Because right now we are open Wednesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every week. Because it's just me.
Do you have many people there at 8 o'clock?
No. Depending on the day. On Saturdays, no. Saturdays, it's usually people start rolling in around 10 a.m.
What kind of people? What are they doing there?
A lot of what's come through recently has been people just passing by. That's like, oh, I've been wanting to stop in here. I have a day off. I'm gonna try it now. Or it's been a word of mouth kind of moment, where they're like, hey, my friend came here last week and they told me I had to try it because I love boba or I love teas and so on. And then they come in.
What's boba?
Boba is tapioca.
Okay.
So like little tapioca pearls. And what I make, we have 2 kinds. We have the popping balls, as they're called, where they have fruit juice inside them. And I have like blueberry and peach and passion fruit, dragon's fruit, and it has that juice inside the balls. Mix up the drink.
Did you say tapioca?
Tapioca,
Like tapioca pudding, those little balls?
Yeah, those little balls, but they're a little bit
bigger.
bigger.
I like those. It's like a malt. Isn't it malty or no?
Well, no.
No, tapioca. What is tapioca?
It's a hard one to describe.
Is it a plant? No?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. I just remember eating tapioca pudding when I was...
I always ate tapioca pudding. That was my favorite thing
I think
ever.
I'll have some tonight. Tapioca
I need to go
pudding.
get some.
Jell-O tapioca pudding?
Yeah. We were going to do the Jell-O part, but it didn't work out. There wasn't a way I could cook it like I'm supposed to without it tasting funky kind of moment. But the tapioca, what I do with it, the pearls, I will boil it and let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes so that it can bring up that nice chewy consistency. But I cook it for each drink so that it's as fresh as it can be for each order. Because if you let them sit in the sugary solution that you create for it for longer than 4 hours, it ends up turning into Orbeez. Like, if you know those little things where you put them in the water and they just expand?
Yeah.
That's the way the tapioca does. It just turns into Orbeez and it turns
Yeah.
into this nasty mush. So just to not have to worry about that, I would rather cook them per order and it be the freshest, best experience than having to be like, oh crap, it's been 4 hours, I gotta make a whole new batch, and then I've just wasted like half my product. And
Do you have espresso?
I do, yeah. We have espresso, we have lattes,
Now those espresso
cappuccinos.
machines, aren't they like $3,000 to $4,000?
Oh.
Pretty expensive.
The
real ones?
The real ones, yeah. Which what we have is we have a 2-head espresso machine. So they're a little bit more expensive than just a single head espresso machine. There are machines that are 3, 4, I think 4 heads is probably the max, where you can make 4 different drinks at the same time. I can do that, but I prefer to have help. So I like sticking with the 2 drinks at one time. But once we get another employee and we have that opportunity, because we wanted to kind of go through a year, we can save up, work towards any little tweaks that we need to make, repairs we need to make, get that all out of the way now, start the new year fresh, then we'll be open more. We'll end up being open from Tuesday through Sunday, and varying hours, but we'll keep for now we'll keep Monday closed just in case we have any emergency repairs or inventory we need to do, so on. But right now, I mean, it is a little odd to people, like, I can't come here till Wednesday, but it's just me, and I'm trying to run a business as well as take care of a family. Our 5-year-old, he is high-functioning autistic with ADHD, and I'm having to homeschool him right now because he's not handling being out in the general social moments, and it's hard for him to be able to calm down when certain people just don't understand how to handle or speak to an autistic child. Like, for him, when you don't want him to do something, if you automatically go no, he doesn't get that. He doesn't understand the word no. It's like, okay, why? And so for him, I have to explain to him, like, buddy, you can't do that right now. This is why. And it seems, oh, okay, like that makes sense, and he'll go on about his way. But if I forget and I go, no, not right now, it's a full-blown meltdown, falling in the floor, end of the world moment for him because he doesn't understand.
Will he grow out of that?
He can, or he can
Even the
just learn.
autism, is it that slight?
Yes, it just kind of depends on how we help him learn and grow with that. I have high functioning autism, but I was not growing up. I didn't get put on medications, and I have no intentions of putting him on medications if I can help it. But I didn't get I didn't get the therapy or anything like that because it wasn't really understood back then as a child. So it's just like, no, they're just crazy. Or as some people have tried to say, no, they're just demon possessed. They need deliverance, or da da da.
Yeah.
And it's something that I literally couldn't help. But I had to just learn how to force myself to deal with it. And I'm trying a different approach for my youngest, where teaching him how to deal with it, how to live with being autistic. He's a little genius, but not stifling his creativity and not telling him, no, you can't be like that, stop talking that way, or stop acting that way, people are going to think you're crazy. I'm helping him grow and learn while he goes through what he's going through. But when I say he's a little genius, he's 5 years old. He can read and write. in English. He can read and write in Russian. Um,
Where did you get the Russian?
I speak Russian, read and write it.
Now, where did you learn Russian?
Well, growing up, from 7 to 16-ish, yeah, 17 to 16, around that area. My parents were missionaries. We had a mission called Mission Harvest, nonprofit organization, where we would send 40-foot containers into third world countries or countries in need with clothing, food, shoes, toys, school supplies. And by the time my stepdad got to the point that he couldn't really handle managing that, being over that because of his health and so on, we turned it over to other hands, and by that time it was going into 143 different countries. We were sending containers. So I grew up in the Russian-Ukrainian community since I was 6 years old.
You mean action in the community here or in Russia?
Both. The community here in Asheville, North Carolina was where we had the mission. So I grew up around that. I learned how to read and write Russian before I could even speak it. I did everything backwards. And then we would go on mission trips over to Ukraine, to Zhytomyr, Rovno, Kiev, and distribute the food and clothing and help build homes or repair homes for certain families over there.
On the courthouse square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland-Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
Is there a lot of this controversy on Ukraine and Russia?
Yes.
A lot of them probably. What's your thoughts? What do you think most of them are thinking there now?
I know in Ukraine, I still have several very dear friends that live there. They're terrified. They're losing family members because to them it's big bad Russia is coming to take everything from them because they just want more land. They want to control that. So it's very hard for them. There are some cities and towns in Ukraine that they won't talk to you if you speak Russian. Because they have gone through so much with fighting with Russia over decades, millennia. You speak Russian, they automatically snub you. Others, they don't care. Everybody speaks. If they don't speak Russian and they speak Ukrainian, they can understand Russian, but it's very hard to understand a lot of Ukrainian if you only speak Russian. Ukrainian's a very fluid, just kind of flowy, cursive language, and Russian's a very straight to the point, choppy. For instance, when you would say, I love you in Russian, it's Я тебя люблю. In Ukrainian, it's Я люблю тебя. So it's more of a flowy, beautiful way of saying it than just a choppy moment. Hello in Russian is привет. In Ukrainian, it's привет. Thank you in Ukrainian, it's дякую. But in Russian, it's спасибо. So it's just kind of, it's a different balance.
You're making me feel stupid.
No, I learned languages because I got bored as a kid. I wanted to know what people were saying about me. So
Because you were in that community of helping them.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, even with, I know some Mandarin Chinese, I wanted to know what they were saying.
Speak some Mandarin.
你好,你好吗, which means, hi, how are you? So someone would probably answer, 我很好,谢谢, which is good, thank you. I'm fine, thanks.
Golly, Gwen, she's way over our head.
But I only know little bits and pieces.
But you choose to make coffee.
Yes, yeah, because I haven't I haven't really dove deep into fully speaking Chinese.
You know, I've got a lot of guys that work for me that's Ukrainian that came over during then, and they're really hard workers.
Yes.
I mean, they
Yeah.
are. They are really, and they stick together even if they don't like each other.
Yep, very family oriented. You could have one person that's completely taken everything that their family's ever worked for and just squandered it all, and they'll pretend like it didn't even happen.
I've noticed that. I got one that was like that.
Yeah,
I had one of them that was, he left took a bunch of money and left them. And like a week later, he was back,
yeah.
And they acted like nothing had happened.
Yeah, it's anything happens in the community, no one talks about it. They keep it to themselves. They deal with it on their own. It's not brought up again. I was married once before I met my husband, and I was married to a young man. He's half Ukrainian, half Lithuanian, and we only lasted about 3.5 years. It was a very rough marriage. I'm not saying Ukrainians or Russians. I'm men in general. He just wasn't a good fit. He was very abusive verbally, and then it turned physical just because we were too young. We were both 19, and at that time, he's an amazing husband and father to his children and his wife he has now. And his wife now, we're the closest of friends. We talk all the time. So there's no animosity there. It's just like, hey, we were too young to be together. We weren't meant to be together. But at the time, you get angry and you fight back. Now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was just a child. I was a kid. But my my stepdad was like, hey, this is the one. God sent him, so this is the time, da-da-da. And at that time, I believed it. That, whatever, growing up, whatever he said was the way to go. So I married my ex-husband, and yeah, it was rocky. But coming out of that, it also helped me grow and learn how to be differently for my husband now. As far as us, it being a give and take relationship, not just a give or take. It was interesting growing up, but yeah, that was the other way I learned Russian as well, because when we got married, my first husband and I got married, I lived with him and his family in their home for a good year before we got our own place. So they family oriented, that's what they do. Whole family's in the same house until it's time for them to have their own place and their own family.
What do they eat?
I'm sorry?
What do they eat?
Oh gosh. Everything. One of my favorite things to make is borscht, but I make 2 different kinds. There's the green borscht, it's just a light colored broth. It'll have sorrel in it. Sometimes I have chicken, potatoes, carrots, just a very light.
What do we call it? A light stew?
Yeah. And then there's beet borscht, which is the dark red. It has beets and potatoes and carrots and onions and sorrel as well.
Never thought about putting beets in with that.
It's so good.
They got a little sweet taste to it?
Yeah, it's just the right amount of sweetness that's not overpowering. But it makes the soup just so much better.
What kind of potatoes?
Any potatoes. Yeah, any potatoes. I usually use just normal.
Any peas?
I've never put peas in it before. But there's a Lithuanian salad that I learned how to make where it's with beets and onions. It's raw, so you don't cook it. But it's pickled beets and onions and peas are in there. And then you add mayonnaise and lemon juice and a couple other things and mix all. It's one of my favorite little snack dishes. But then you can also make a holopsi, which is almost like a crepe-like pancake kind of thing. Then you can have. Now you got me trying to remember.
Do they eat a lot of cabbage?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of cabbage, potatoes, poppy seeds, because the poppy seed rolls, that Mac roulette is like my favorite dessert. That and nalishniki. Nalishniki is the same kind of crepe type pancake style, but then you put a sweetened cream cheese in it and roll it up. And I'm gonna have to go home and make that.
I'm getting hungry too, just thinking about
Just
it.
thinking about it. Um,
Is Wildwood Avenue a lot more busier now that they're finishing that sidewalk, or is it?
it's getting there. It's a very busy street, like road. Wildwood Avenue is very busy, period. People use that as a cut through all the time from one part of the city to the next part of the city. So it's constantly cars going back and forth.
I guess at one time it was a main
Yeah,
road through there.
yeah.
You know, I think Wildwood Avenue used to be busier than,
when
because that was the main road
Yeah.
into town.
well, I think too when the Whirlpool
Yep,
shut down
that's
there
right.
and moved, that's what really just changed everything. It just called the people that live there. They didn't have a way. Those that didn't have a vehicle and they were walking to work, and that was awesome. It just caused it just to plummet. And now, the community's trying to build that back up and rejoin it to the historical district so that it has just as much value of an area as the historic district does. But it's gonna take a hot minute to get that all cleaned up and revitalized.
How much is a cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee, if you want a small, it's $3.95 before tax. A medium is $4.25, and a large, which is our 20 ounce, is
So
$4.95.
it's not a discount coffee place, is it?
It's cheaper than most. Yeah, we are one of the cheapest in town.
What size would this be? A small or medium?
That'd be a medium. It's about 16 ounces. Our small is 12 ounces, our medium is 16, and our large is 20 ounces.
I noticed they had good music and good speakers in there.
Yes, we have the Sonos system. I love Sonos. Their speakers, their whole setup.
It was all Van Morrison when I was there.
Yes, I love Van Morrison.
He's my favorite.
But it's usually, I switch it up. We try to keep it a bluesy, jazzy theme, or oldies like 1950s, 1940s, blues and jazz. We just keep it that more, like I said, speakeasy, back in the day vibes. Or we'll have reggae. But the old school, Bob Marley, the original reggae, not the crazy pop
But that's
stuff.
something different that no coffee shop that I know of has music, which is really
That you can hear.
yeah, they can't hear it. I don't think they even have it.
Starbucks has music,
Yeah, but I'm not.
but you can't really
Is it
hear
like
it.
elevator music
Yeah,
or something?
yeah, you
It's
can't.
It's not recognizable names.
Now that I think about it, yeah,
I don't even think they have any music.
going a lot of the places. I remember back in the days when I started working in the coffee industry. If you remember Barney's, I
The
think
bookstore.
Barney's, but there was also a Barney's coffee,
I remember that.
and way back in the days. That's where I start telling my age. The coffee part. They would have a different types of music, and they would have little what do you call it? Spotify cards. They would have
I
little
remember
QR
that,
codes,
yep.
and they'd have sit there and like, hey, this is the song for the week, and you would get a free song or a free subscription. They don't do that anymore.
No.
But yeah, I haven't really heard of many places that have kind of a lot of music that you can actually hear and understand what's being played. But that's the vibe we want to have there. At Urban Leaf Tea Company, we want it to be an all-inclusive cafe where there's no judgment. We don't care what your religion is. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you love. We don't care what you believe. As long as you come in with a positive, loving vibe, happy vibe, and you keep that positivity, you're welcome. Come sit, chill, hang out, get a cup of coffee, study, do your work there. We want it to be a positive, reinforced atmosphere for all walks of life. So there's no, it's what I call a base or safe zone for me. because it's a moment where you can go. No one's gonna be like, oh, you like this or you dress like that, and then you get treated differently. Here, I don't care what you dress. You can come straight from work, and you got holes up and down because that's your work clothes. You're there for me to give you a customer experience, to build a customer relationship so that it's a place you want to come back to because you had a positive interaction, a positive moment, something to where you leave with a smile on your face. You didn't just come to get a cup of coffee because you need a cup of coffee. You came to
A respite.
yeah, you can just kind of, all right, reset. I feel great. All right, I can handle the rest of the day. That's the kind of vibe we want it to be, where it's the place that you just come and you reset. Your mood is 10 times better because you came and got a coffee. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You stopped at Urban Leaf, and I had the pleasure of making you smile. And you can enjoy the rest of your day because you have a smile. You're like, all right, yeah, that was a rough morning, but I can do this. I can get through it. That's the vibe we want to have, where it brings the community back together, where there's not that judgment and that bigotry or racism, none of that politics. I don't care. You leave that at the door. We're here to grow and get to know each other and build a community where we help each other, and we're here to help each other heal and have joy, not to poke fun and judge because you look a little different. I mean, I've got 5 different nationalities in me. I'm Norwegian, Ethiopian, Puerto Rican, and Cherokee, and Japanese. Like, I'm a whole mix. I'm a melting pot. But
And speak Russian.
yes, I speak Russian and
Mandarin.
Chinese and Spanish and some Hebrew. I got bored a lot as a kid. And Gabriel, the little 5-year-old, he's about 50% on Mandarin Chinese, 50% on Russian, which he taught himself. I was working at the hospital when he learned these. He found on YouTube, because he would watch the alphabet and numbers and colors and all that stuff on repeat. He found on YouTube the alphabet and everything in Russian, in Mandarin Chinese, and started watching those in Spanish and memorizing it. He can count from 1 to 100. He knows his entire color table.
And he's how old?
5.
5.
He'll be 6 in May.
Golly, that's playing with Hot Wheels, I guess.
Yeah, I was picking on my cousins and getting stuck in trees. I was a wild one as a kid.
Let me ask you this. Does your birth certificate say your first name's Tree?
No, it says Triana.
Triana. Spell that.
Triana. But it's actually Spanish from Spain. There's a resort town in Sevilla, Spain called Triana. Triana is also the surname originally, from what I've gone back trying to just kind of figure out where it came from, was the surname of the cabin boy that sailed with Christopher Columbus around the world. So
Triana?
Yeah, Triana. And my mom, she didn't know that. She was just driving in the mountains of California, mixing words together. All right, Anna, Brianna, Adriana, Ariana, Triana. Ooh, I like that. And just stuck with it. And my biological father, he passed away when I was 16. But when he found out my mom named me Triana, he goes, oh, thank you so much for giving her a Spanish name. She goes, I didn't even know what it meant. Yeah. But it means pure and gracious. My middle name is Alexius, which is also spelled in the masculine form. Alexis is usually spelled Alexis, or some form of that. For me, it's Alexius, which is the masculine spelling of it. So I have a surname and a masculine first name, and then a masculine middle name. And at the time,
Triana Alexis Tatum. When you sign your name, do you sign it Tree?
It usually looks like a scribble. It's all kind of run together.
So when did you inherit the name Tree?
My papa. He used to call me Princess Little Tree. And my papa was, I wear his ring every day since he passed. He was more my father figure than anyone else that's been in my life. He was my rock. I was his favorite, and any cousins listening, it's true. I was Papa's favorite. I could almost inevitably do no wrong. I would go over there. I would sit with him. We'd watch all the oldie shows together. He'd go to the casinos in Cherokee. I'd sit in the truck and wait for him. Like, he was my best friend.
I probably sat with him
at
the casino.
They wouldn't let me in. I was too small. But I waited outside for him to win. And he would always call me Princess Little Tree. Or he'd call me Little Tree. Never ever called me Triana. He'd always call me Tree. And it just stuck. Because, one, it's an oxymoron. I'm 4'11", so I'm a tiny little tree. But I'm a bonsai tree. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah. You're
old.
tall for a bonsai tree.
Yeah. Well, there are some. They're hundreds of years old by the time you get into that. But there are some that you can get pretty big. But yeah. So when I was a bartender back in my early 20s, I went by bonsai. Because they'd pick on me. They're like, "You're so short for a tree." And I was like, "Yeah, like a bonsai tree." So when we have our patrons come in and they get a little inebriated, they go, "Bonsai!"
Yeah.
But you could only see me from my shoulders up because I was too short to be behind the bar. So you just see this head floating while I make drinks and hand them out. But
are you what they call a barista?
Yes, I'm a primo barista. I actually went to a 3-week course. Words are hard.
Yeah.
I went to a 3-week course for being a barista to learn how to make the proper cappuccino, the proper latte. If you look at some cappuccinos, you open up top, you look at the foam. If it has a lot of big bubbles in it, that's going to cause you indigestion. So there's a technique of hitting the steam pot on the counter.
Yeah, that's a lot of noise.
It is to settle the bubbles. So the smoother the foam is, the less indigestion you'll get. Because you're putting air bubbles into your body. So obviously you're going to get that type of indigestion. So I learned when I worked for Drinking Beans Coffee House, which doesn't exist anymore. This was back in 2005, 2006. I was a general manager for 2.5 years for that coffee shop. And the owner sent me to the 3-week course to help me be on the same level he was, so that when he had to go out of town, he had a business in California, he had a construction business, he could leave the shop to me. I'd handle everything, make the schedule, pay the employees, do the inventory, so on and so forth. He didn't have to worry about anything. So that's where I learned most of my coffee espresso skills, was from there. And then just kind of went from there. Just studying what I could. YouTube's an amazing friend to learn how to make certain drinks and different types of espresso drinks, as far as like a campana, that is shots of espresso with a little bit of whipped cream. Or you have a macchiato. Macchiato is you have the steamed milk, you fill it up 3/4 of the way, or you can fill it up you filled up more than that. You leave about probably an inch at the top, and then you pour the espresso in through the top. So it's an upside down latte. And we have the caramel macchiato where you have the drizzle that goes on there as well. But yeah, I just kind of learned the different techniques for that and ran with it because I love being artistic and creative. So it was kind of like, oh, look, I can make this the best way in my mind. I became a coffee connoisseur because if somebody made my cappuccino the wrong way, I wouldn't drink it because I knew I was going to be sick the rest of the day. They'd get so frustrated with me. At one place I went, this is my early to mid-20s, and she's like, "I don't know how to make a cappuccino. I'm going to try." And I was talking her through it, walking her through it. And I was like, "Do you mind if I show you?" I was like, "I know you're not used to having a customer here." I was like, let me just show you. And I walked back there and showed her how to make it. Yeah. I was like, "That's how you make cappuccino. That's not a cappuccino." Because it was mostly just liquid. Like a latte, latte doesn't have foam. It might have a little bit on top, but it's not mostly foam. A cappuccino is,
Mostly foam.
yeah, it's about half foam, half liquid. So that's what balances it out. We don't have Turkish coffee, but I have made it before. So it's little bitty, you'll see it like on TV, it's a little bitty short cup, and you're like, that's not enough coffee. That has enough caffeine in it as if you drink 3 cups of regular coffee. That little bitty thing can put you on a whole nother speed.
Boy, it will.
Yeah,
That
wires you up.
Yeah.
And it has so much sugar in it, you can stand your spoon up in it. So trying to avoid that one because I don't want to have to. Whew, that's a lot.
What do you see the future? Do you see you staying here at that place, or
Oh, yes.
opening up another one, or what?
I plan on being a part of Urban Leaf for eons to come. I don't have any I don't have any desire to move on. I've found my niche. I am
You like Cleveland?
Yeah. Yeah, it's growing on me. I mean, like I said, I've been through a rough past of just judgment, prejudice, stuff like that. But it's growing on me. I like Cleveland as far as the coffee industry goes, like where I work, because Andrew is family to me. Like it's like having another father. He calls me kid. He goes, there you go, kid. You got this. It's like working with someone that appreciates you, he sees me. When I give him an idea, hey, what do you think about this? I think it would work if we did it. He goes, well, let's try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, he values my opinion. He respects me as his employee, as his friend, as an adopted family kind of vibe. It's very close knit, and we have big plans for the future. We look forward to one day opening a second location.
In Cleveland or somewhere else?
It depends on wherever the universe leads us, kind of thing. When it's time, it'll happen. But we do look forward to, at some point, having a stage in there to where we can have live music. We can have poetry slams or comedy nights. Just kind of bringing back that speakeasy, old school chill vibe. And at some point in time in the future, we look forward to having more there than just coffee and pastries and tea and good music and stuff like that. We have food and other aspects, but we're just taking it one day at a time.
Well, I'll say this: you got a nice place.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
Well, we really
Whoever did
appreciate
it did a good job.
Yes, Andrew did an amazing job. From what it was when he bought the whole property and everything, I believe back in 2018, it's totally different. Like, he had to gut that place from top to bottom and redo everything. Like, the upstairs is like something out of...
Is it pretty nice upstairs?
Oh, I love it. It's all hardwood floors. It has all of the...
Is it two bedrooms?
2 bedroom, yeah. It's 2 bedroom.
Nice kitchen.
Huge kitchen. Like for me, it's huge kitchen. It's all open floor plan in the middle. So when you come into the kitchen, and then the dining room area is right there, which opens straight into there's the living room, and then my husband's office is back in the corner towards the front of the building because he works from home. He's an architectural drafter.
Who's
so
he draft for?
He drafts for Coast to Coast Surveys. So he draws blueprints and
Where are they out of?
I believe out of Chattanooga. Yeah, out of Chattanooga. That's actually the funny thing. When we first started dating, I had no idea that he had applied to Coast. He had no idea that I worked there. I was an IT specialist at the time for the company. And I was there for 3.5 years and then had to just part ways. Having a new baby, it was just a whole lot of other stuff happened that's the past. And I ended up parting ways, but he's been there for 6 years now, a little over 6 years. And he draws and, their blueprints and stuff for the projects they do, which makes it awesome with, I work downstairs, So I literally get up in the morning, go downstairs, open the shop, do everything there. He's upstairs working, and Gabriel can be home, be homeschooled. So one of us is always home with him, teaching him, helping him with everything. So it makes it really awesome because we only have one vehicle right now. So that would be, and our oldest, he goes to Lake Forest Elementary. So I take him to school.
That's close.
Lake Forest Middle, I'm sorry, not elementary. Sorry, Sebastian.
Yeah.
He's 11. He goes to Lake Forest Middle School. So I'll take him to school in the morning, and I get back with 30 minutes before I have to open, which I usually, I set up whatever I can the night before. So I literally just go step by step putting it all together.
Probably you could open at 9 o'clock and be fine.
Yeah.
Probably.
Originally, we were 9 to 5. That's why right now, before we changed our time, our hours and stuff, the guy that did our window decals and stuff, we'd originally told him 9 to 5. And then we let him know that, hey, it's 8 to 6, but it just kind of miscommunication. So it says 8 to 5 on the door now. But it's 8 to 6, Wednesday through Saturday. But we haven't changed it because once we get another employee, then it will be Tuesday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Variation, because it'll be Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 6. Saturdays will be probably 10 to 4, 10 to 5, because after 4 on Saturdays, it's a hit or miss if people come in, because they're doing they're going home, they're ready to start whatever they're doing for that day. And then Sundays will be open 8 to 3, so that church people, the church crew can come through, get their coffee on the way to church, and then they can come through, get their coffee and stuff after church. So it kind of gives that window of them getting coffee and teas and stuff before they go to church, and then having the rest of the day. But we'll keep Mondays closed for now, just because in case we have any emergency repairs, or we need, like I said, we need to do inventory.
It'd be closed one day.
Yeah, and Monday seems to be kind of the deadest time anyway. Just even, we're not open right now, but just I've sat upstairs watching to see, hey, does anybody ever try to come and see if we're open? And we may have 1 or 2 in a week, or I'm sorry, in a month that actually tries to stop by and see if we're open. But usually, like today was the first time I've had someone try to stop by and see if we're open on a Sunday. But since April, I've never had anyone stop by and see if we're open on a Sunday.
Maybe because they're getting the road fixed, or they're out of the way.
They have one last thing to do. It's the asphalt part where they have to fix a couple potholes right in front of the building, and then that the separation
Tying
between
the curb to the asphalt.
Yeah. So they still have that left to do, and then put dirt and grass in the part of the sidewalk where the mailboxes are now. But other than that, they seem to be finished in front of us, which I'm very thankful for, because that was I think it's about 15 feet past our property line, headed towards Edmund Street. There's no sidewalk, no concrete inside it, so they still have to fix that.
Yeah.
So that's going to slow us down a little bit, because they'll be posted up right in front of our driveway. That's the hardest part right there, is they block off our driveway, no one can get in. But it's one day at a time, one step at a time, getting through that. But it's picking up, and I have a huge boost of confidence for 2023. Everyone will know about Urban Leaf Tea Company.
We got to make it happen, don't we?
Yeah. We're working on doing flyers where we'll do them mail out so that people know where we are. Because a lot of people I've told about, they're like, hey, where do you work? What do you do? And I tell them, oh, where's that? And as soon as I explain to them the location, they're like, oh, that's that big brick building. It used to say drugs on the side of it. And I was like, yeah, that's hidden under the
Just
sign.
tell them it's where Kenneth Tinsley used to be.
Yeah. A lot of people around here would understand that, or they would understand, because when it was originally built in the 1930s, and that was when it was first the Pearsons. They had the Pearsons drugstore. And then around 1950s, 60s-ish, Miss Wells took over running it, and it was more of a not normal pharmaceutical, like, big pharma drugs. It was more kind of the way we do our medicinals. It was more of a um, metaphysical kind of herbal.
Holistic.
Yeah, holistic. That's the word I was looking for. More of a holistic type of pharmacy. Then it went from her to Kenneth Tinsley when it was the antique shop kind of thing, and then to Andrew DiResta when it was a little hobby shop. And then now Andrew...
Urban Leaf.
Yes, it's Andrew Richardson and Urban Leaf.
Well, when you walked up and Andrew said, come by in 2 weeks, he got lucky.
I hope I feel like I got lucky, just because like I said, as a kid growing up, I've always wanted to live in that old school fairy tale style where you live above the place you run and you do what you love. And I love all things about natural remedies and herbs and organic coffees, anything that helps boost your body without having to go and be hooked up to a machine or take 8 different pills like I used to, just to keep my body stable. I've always wanted to have that type of lifestyle, and now I have it. I am very, very appreciative. Andrew has done so much for me and my family. I've never felt so much support and love from someone that's not my blood. That where we're struggling with something, or we got sick and I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's okay, kid. Take your time. Get better. Rest up. We'll tackle this next week. It's a family-based relationship that I absolutely cherish, and I look forward to being there as long as possible.
Shout out to Andrew.
Yeah, he's the best. I'm very, very appreciative of him.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thank
and
you.
I got a good feeling that if you can make a coffee shop go on Inman, on Wildwood, you're going to do it.
Oh, I believe that Urban Leaf Tea Company will be the reason that Wildwood is busier and starts coming more back to life like it used to back in the days. That's what my dream is that we will help that community grow. We'll help that community come back to life and want to be that beautiful area it used to be before everything kind of fell apart.
And now you can say you've been on the discussion.
I am honored, and I really appreciate this opportunity.